Hello and welcome. I am so excited to have you here. My name is Jacqueline Stevens, and today I am going to share with you about dating energetics and how to create emotional fitness. So, big welcome. I wanted to first just kind of ground you in who this training is for, who it's designed for, and who's going to get the most from today. So, if you're single and successful and you feel like you've had a lot of really amazing achievements in your life, whether those are personal or professional, and you've also really struggled to find a true and equal partner, this training is for you. If you're somebody who is at the time and place in your life where you don't need a partner, but you really want a partner and a partner to share your life with, and you aren't willing to settle, then this training is for you. So I want to just tell you that there is absolutely no reason why you are unable to attract a partner who truly cares about you, who truly adores you. And I want to show you how you can find them. That's what today's lesson and training is really for. So I hope you're able to buckle up. So before we dive into class, a couple of things. I want you to be a curious student. I want you to grab your journal. I want you to be really open to learn. And I want you to write down the exact and specific questions that you're having throughout this training so that you can follow up with me and I can give you answers to these questions for yourself. How does that sound? So I'm going to introduce myself. We're going to talk about energy, and then we're going to flow into today's learnings. So my intention for you today is that you're able to understand your energy in a whole new way. And also gain an understanding about how your energy has contributed to your relationship success or your relationship distress. And another big point of this training is I want you to understand the difference between a codependent relationship and a co-committed relationship, and gain some clarity and understanding as to how you've been playing in these two worlds. So before we dive into the juice of today's training, I want to introduce myself to you and really talk to you about what the heck do I know about relationships and dating and emotional fitness. So my name is Jacqueline Stevens. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. And I'm a Los Angeles-based soulful relationship and self-development coach. And I primarily work with people who are successful and who are single and who are looking to create more out of their lives and out of their relationships. My primary method that I use is joy. And my story really starts, I'd say about 4 years ago when I went through this massive life transformation where I left my corporate career of over 15 years. I worked in the beauty industry and developed learning and education programs, very much like this, but this is a little bit different content. And I burnt out. And at that same time, I also burnt out from a long-term relationship. So within a couple of months, I left my long-term corporate career and almost a 7-year relationship. And I call this time my dark night of the soul. So it's really when I started to go deep, deep, deep within myself. And I went on what I call my eat, pray, love journey, where I started to really understand who I was underneath all of these facades that I was placing out to the world. Who was I really? What did I really want? What was it about what I had that wasn't making me happy? And that led me to coaching. And 4 years later, I've developed a successful coaching practice, have completely shifted and changed my life, and done so much work around myself and relationships because I wanted to never get a relationship, quote, wrong again. So that's a little bit of my story. Before we dive into today's content, I want you to just take a minute to breathe. So maybe you've already taken some of the learnings from the Love and Healing Summit. And maybe some things are trickling through your body. And I want this time as you're breathing just for you to be able to connect your mind, your body, and your spirit so that you can really absorb what it is that you need to absorb from our time today. So set your intention. So when I say energy, I want you to jot down in your notebook, what does that mean to you? And why do you think your energy, why do you think that your energy within a relationship is so important? So these are some really important questions I want you to ponder. And what do you notice about your energy in your relationships? So take a minute. If you want to pause this video, take about 90 seconds to write down some of those answers and then come back and join me when you're ready to move on. So I want to share with you that energy equals emotion equals energy in motion. And I love to go back to this. The law of conservation of energy states that energy can't be created and it cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted. And so your emotions, the things that you feel that sometimes are feel good, sometimes it feels bad. This is simply put energy in motion. And the reason why I love this concept so much is it helps you to understand that you are not your emotions. And your emotions are something that actually is supposed to really move through you. So my favorite example is that you are the blue sky. It's bright and it's blue. It's unchanging. And your emotions are the weather. So that changes based on the climate, based on the geography, based on the season of the year. And so it's this understanding that you and your emotions are these wonderful entities, but again, you are not your emotions. So one of the biggest things that is super important for you as you navigate your life and as you navigate your relationships is having this thing, which I call emotional fitness. We've all been to the gym. Most of us are familiar with a personal trainer who helps you with your physical fitness, but I'm your coach and I'm your trainer when it comes to your emotional fitness, because our emotions are the things that we tend to not understand, the thing that we want to change, the thing that we want to deny. And really what needs to happen is I want you to be able to invite your emotions in to inform you so that you can start to make better decisions about your life. So emotional fitness is this concept that it's your ability to strengthen your resiliency, to pursue positivity in your life, and focus on staying in alignment with your goals. Sounds like something that you want, right? So your emotional fitness drives how you treat yourself, it drives how you treat others, and it also helps drive how you're creating relationships in your life. Now, your ability to have emotional fitness is what is able to help you to sustain forward momentum in your life. That means helping you so that you get stuck less often. And when you do get stuck, you've got these amazing tools and resources that you can tap into to move through the emotion and to allow that emotion to truly move through you as well. So your energy, how much energy you have, if you're excited, if you're not, all of these things, this is your life force energy. Now you have a certain amount of energy that you have been given, and it's precious and it's needed. And we need your energy in this world. And so my intention for you and your energy, which is your soul, is that you allow it to shine fully and you allow it to shine wholly. Because when you do that, this is you're able to attract and create the things that truly bring you joy. So, emotional fitness overall is what helps you to cultivate more awareness, right? More understanding about what's going on in your life, what's going on in your emotional life. And when you can understand, you can start to create safety. You can start to create security. You no longer need to outsource your emotions to anybody else, a partner, a friend, a therapist, but you can truly start to be agent in your own emotions. And as you do that, what you're doing is you're actually creating intimacy with yourself first, so that you can create the space to invite somebody else into that space to have intimacy with you. With emotional fitness, you can create completely new outcomes in your life, and they can be whatever it is that you desire. So before we hop into relationship energetics, I want to give you some thoughts about your personal energy and the types of energy that we have. So overall, you have two kinds of energy. The first is anabolic. Now, this is the energy that I like to describe as it's the shit that feels good, right? So it's love and joy, it's peace, it's presence, it's enthusiasm, it's hopeful. Now, all of these emotions actually create chemical responses in your body. They're constructing, they're expanding. This energy is really fueling and healing. And so, anabolic energy is this higher vibe energy. If you've been on a dating app, I'm sure you've seen people who say things like good vibes only, which is one of my least favorite things to say. But they're basically saying, hey, I only want the good stuff. So that's also not necessarily real. We're all humans. We all have bad days. And so I want to introduce you to the other energy, which I know you're very familiar with, which is catabolic energy. Now, the easiest way for you to remember catabolic energy is that it's draining. It's the energy that does not feel good. Catabolic, catastrophe. They've got the same root. Now, the purpose of this energy is that it's draining, it's resisting, but it's also really helps us to strengthen and actually to build muscle. There might be some contraction with this energy within the body. So, this is the emotions that just don't feel good: despair, sadness, envy, exhaustion, overwhelm. So as you've got your journal in front of you, I want you to maybe pause this video and take a couple of notes about where you're at with your anabolic energy, that high vibe, and where you're at with your catabolic energy. What are you noticing? What's challenging for you about being in this type of energy? So, what's really important about recognizing these two types of energy that we've talked about is that neither one of them I want you to associate with good and bad. All of these energies have purpose, and it's how we're using them that's super important. Now, one of the biggest things that most people don't know is that they think that we don't have control over our emotions. And although there's some things that we don't have control over, what we do have control over is how we respond, right? So if somebody does something, makes you upset, it's not that you can't be angry. Angry is a totally justified and normal response to a lot of things that happen to us on a daily basis. But it's more so about how am I responding with my anger? How am I reacting with my jealousy? And that's the work that you and I do, is to understand what are the natural triggered responses that I tend to have that maybe aren't serving me, and what are the things that I can do to shift to have more of a conscious response so that I'm able to get the results that I really, really want in my life and in my relationships. So I want to walk you through one of my favorite little charts. Now, this is the idea, again, that there's two different types of energy, the catabolic, which would be levels 1 and levels 2. And then we've got all these really juicy, more anabolic energies, which are really going to be levels 4 through 7. We're going to touch on this a little bit later, but overall, what I want to show you is that there's 7 different layers of consciousness, all of which I have an amazing assessment that you can actually measure where your energy's at throughout the day. And we can talk about how this is affecting your life and your relationships. So my company, my brand is called Joy with Jax. Hit me up on the gram. But again, level 6, which is all about joy. This is all about growth. This is an energy that is super special that actually can hold all of the energies beneath it. So in joy, I can be grieving and I can be growing at the same time. I'm not stuck in the grieving. So what's really amazing about coaching, about my style of coaching, is we work with what is called your T cycle. So most people, now again, if you're watching this, you're likely not where you want to be in your love life, in your relationships. And so you're focused on the external actions. A lot of times people think, oh, maybe I just need to change my dating app. I'm on Bumble. Maybe I need to be on Hinge. I'm on Hinge. Maybe I need to be on Match. Maybe I need to be on eHarmony, right? They're changing the outside and expecting that change to give them a different result. Now, it's not that that can't give you a little bit of a different result, but ultimately, if you really want to change your reality, what we need to work on are your thoughts and your emotions, because your thoughts create emotions and your emotions create your actions. And so what we do is we reverse engineer. We work a ton with your emotional body to understand that. And then we're able to double tap and understand what are the thoughts that you're having about your life and about your relationship that are actually holding you back. And we rewire the thoughts. I support you with understanding, recalibrating your emotions, and then the actions flow from there. So let's talk a little bit about relationship energetics. We've talked about your energy, the 2 different types that you have, the 7 different lenses that you can see life through. But what I really want to share with you is that relationships are totally built on our energy, right? Our energy and the person that we are relating to. So the big question is, do you want your relationship to be based on catabolic energy, which is fear, which is scarcity, which is not feeling enough, which is unworthiness? Or do you want your relationships to be based on catabolic energy, which is about growth and healing and love? Now, I feel like I know your answer, and I know your answer is, oh my gosh, I totally want my relationships to be based on love. And if you are, amazing. Let's continue to learn. So a lot of times when I first start working with the clients, one of the questions that I ask them is like, why do you want to be in a relationship? And 99% of people don't have an answer for that. Now, the problem with that is that our why we do something determines the results that we get. And so if you don't know your why, I want to offer you my why, which is the goal of a relationship. So a lot of times people want to be in a relationship just because they think they need to be in a relationship, or maybe that's just what people do, or that's what everybody else is doing, or, there's some type of awareness that, yeah, it feels good to be in a relationship, but getting really clear on what your goal is for your relationship is super important. So overall, I'd love to offer you this. The goal of an intimate relationship is that two people exist as whole and unique individuals. They exist in this relationship so that they can grow individually and that they can grow together. Now, when two people are in a relationship and they agree to be less than whole, their problems multiply, right? If you show up in a relationship and you aren't showing up fully, and you aren't showing up in the manner in which you want to show up, or you're hiding parts of yourself, then your problems continue to grow. Now, this is where we're going to start to define a couple of different types of relationships. Now, this first relationship style that we're going to talk about is codependence. I'm sure you've heard of it, and I'm sure it's really easy for you to make the correlation that codependence is actually a relationship type that is based on that catabolic energy. It's based on fear. It's based on scarcity. It's based on the idea that I am not whole in and of myself, and I need to be with somebody else in order to make me feel whole. So codependence is this excessive emotional, mental, or psychological reliance on a partner. It's the idea that I'm not okay unless my partner's okay, or I'm not okay unless my relationship's okay. Now, maybe that sounds like it's not necessarily that bad, but I want you to think about that a little bit more. It's basically saying, I can't be happy unless this other person's happy, unless we're happy in relationship. You're going to be leaving a lot of your happiness on the table. Codependency happens when you rely heavily on somebody else for happiness, on somebody else for success. And so I'm a math junkie, and I want to share with you this concept that I read about. And I thought, oh my gosh, it literally blew my mind. So if you show up in a relationship as only half of yourself, because you're not really sharing what it is that you want, or what it is that you need, or how it is that you really feel, and you're also in a relationship with another person who, like, you don't necessarily really like how they're treating you, or you don't really like how they're feeling sometimes, they're also showing up as half a person. Now, when you multiply half times half, you actually get a quarter, which is less than what you had initially. Now, I think this is a really powerful way to understand that when you show up in a codependent relationship, there might be amazing things initially that feel really fun and exciting, but once that honeymoon phase is over, you're going to feel a quarter of what you did before. So why and how does codependency happen? And it happens because we're human, because most of us didn't necessarily have super strong modeling. We come from families where there might be some toxic patterns. And even if you did come from a really healthy family, we're shown these super unreasonable images of what love really looks like in media, in society. And so the reason why you're codependent is because you're a people pleaser and you have what I call labs, or LBS. But for the purpose of this video, labs is leaky ass boundary syndrome. Now, what this is it's basically your inability to set boundaries or regulations or containers for what it is that you want in your life. And you're so focused on pleasing other people that you would rather be in a relationship that felt like garbage than leaving that relationship, cultivating more anabolic energy, and starting something else. And so my invitation for you is to shift from that codependent mindset and lifestyle into one that is more about co-commitment. Now, co-commitment is where two people support each other in becoming more whole and complete versions of themselves. I mean, just saying this, it's like, there's so much acceptance that comes with co-commitment. Codependence is about judgment and shame, and you're doing that wrong, and that's not the way that I want it. But co-commitment is much more open. It has so much more space. The commitment is to go all the way, allowing the relationship to truly be a catalyst for each person to express their full potential and their creativity. So I know this says go all the way, but that doesn't necessarily mean go all the way towards marriage or go all the way towards death. Co-commitment in a relationship can be, maybe it's a relationship for 2 years. I just want to tell you that not all relationships are meant to last forever. And if you want to create a relationship that is a complete and beautiful masterpiece, an art, you can't not paint on any other canvases. You have to get out there. You have to work on these co-committed relationships and try these on as you start to move down your relationship journey. Co-commitment is something that happens as you heal that people-pleasing energy that's within you, this need to want to please other people, to say yes, to overextend your energy. It also happens as you gain clarity on what it is that you actually want in your life and relationships. And you commit to yourself that seeking that is what you really want versus going after that fuck boy or that fuck girl, which might be fun right now, but long term, it's not really the thing that's going to serve you. Co-commitment is something that is also created as you create and communicate boundaries, right? No one can take advantage of you, if you know what it is that you're here to offer and what it is that you're looking for. So this is my energy assessment, which is something that helps you to understand where you're at in your emotional wiring, what some of the things are that are truly holding you back. You're going to get a little bit more information about this later, but I just want you to know that if you're like, oh my gosh, I really want to see more about my energy, I want to learn more about where I am, then I have the assessment for you. Looks like this. So I want to walk you through the 7 different layers of consciousness super quickly. These are energetic archetypes that you're likely going to see in your life. And the first one is the victim. The victim is somebody who is just like not their fault. Right? It's everybody else's fault. Something's been done to me. Life is being done to me. The world is being done to me. It doesn't necessarily feel good to be in that position. Now, number 2, this is one that I was very familiar with as I was exiting my corporate career, as I was exiting that long-term relationship I shared with you. And this was the energy of like blame. So when I left these things, it was like, it was my job's fault. It was my boyfriend's fault. Everybody else was at fault except for me. Again, this energy, it might serve us at times, but overall, living in this energy or starting relationships from the fighter energy or from the victim energy is going to lead to being in a relationship that is full of codependent and toxic patterns. And I do not want that for you. So what's underneath all of this level 1 and level 2 is our desire to feel safe, to feel like we're approved of, to feel like we're seen, this desire for security. A lot of times we want to control things so that we feel like we're safe. So getting really clear on the ways in which you're truly experiencing this level 1 and level 2 energy is going to change your life. Underneath every single one of your unmet needs is a desire that is lurking there, that needs to be attended. And my guidance to you is that it's not your partner's job to make your desires come true. It's actually through you honing in on what your desires are and tending to those needs that you're going to be able to magnify a partner that is truly able to meet you exactly where you're at. So maybe in your journal, pause this again, but I want you to start to really think of, okay, where am I really sitting in guilt and self-doubt in that level 1, in anger and in blame? Where am I at in those in my relationships? And what is it that's underneath of those energies that I actually really, really want? So take a pause, come back in a minute, and then we're going to chat about level 3. Level 3 is the rationalizer. It's like, this is okay. Everything's okay. I'm okay. They're okay. Catabolic energy is really down. Anabolic energy is more up. And the rationalizer is just kind of like mellow. So you might be in this place right now where you're like, it's okay. Like, I'm okay. I know I'm going to be in a relationship, but I don't really know. And so there isn't going to be a whole lot of movement from this place. So the whole goal of my program and my coaching is to move you into the higher energy levels, because the higher your energy, the more you can magnetize, the more you attract, the more you get done, the better your life feels, all of the things. Now, here is level 4 energy. Now, so many of my clients, both male and female, they may have they have some, I'd say, imbalanced caregiver energy. This is the energy where people pleasing can really be turned up too much, where there's so much caregiving to other people versus actual caregiving to yourself. So again, with these energies, they can be projected and they can also be internalized. So you want to make sure that you are also taking care of your own energy and not doing that people pleasing that we talked a little bit about. Level 5 is the opportunist. It's all about, do I feel, safe to share this? Seeing everything as an opportunity. Level 6, like I said, this is absolutely one of my favorites, which is all about the visionary. This is about joy. This is about growth. This is about being in the flow. This is about taking opportunities. This is about intuition. This is what I'm truly supposed to be doing in my life. And level 7 is the creator. When you are at your highest consciousness and your most spiritual and embodied place, when you're connected to the highest source. So, what's the emotional wavelength that you would like to flex more into in your relationships in 2023? Is it the victim? Is it the fighter? And I think I know that the answer is no. And the emotional wavelength I would like to invite you into is growth, is into joy. So if you're really curious to know about your numbers, to know how you rate in this assessment, and really want to understand how you can start to work through some of that heavy catabolic energy, then reach out. Find me on the Instagram, on Joy with Jax. Let me know how you enjoyed this training, and I want to be there to support you. I would love to have you move through my relationship blueprint course, an assessment that you can learn more about these energies and also be able to have a one-on-one call with me so that we can figure out what's next for you in your life, in your relationships, and we can get you on a path so that you feel like a whole new purpose-filled you in 2023. My final offering is that I want you to be able to have energy alchemy. And this is a lifestyle. It's a process that simply helps you to be able to transmute your experiences and your emotions into deeply fulfilling expressions of the mind, the body, the emotion, and the spirit. Thank you so much for sharing your energy today. Again, my name is Jacqueline Stevens. I'm a life and relationship coach. I'm so looking forward to sharing with you in this new year, and we'll talk to you soon.